slate. We're going to be going through my plays for DraftKings and FanDuel. I'll go game by game, touching on the guys that I like, both GPP side and cash side. We will also build a GPP lineup. I'll kind of cover where I'm at on cash as well. So I want to welcome everybody coming in. I'm going to get this shared out real quick, and we are going to get into it. So give me 1 second here, guys. Bear with me. All right. Morning, everybody who's popping on in. Set up quick here. Harry, what up, brother? Boom. All right. Figure it out. We should be good there. Appreciate you guys being here. I want to say I apologize for last week not going live. It was kind of a struggle getting out of that hotel and whatnot and getting everything packed up. So it is what it is, but we are back. We are here. So right now you're seeing the DraftKings. This is basically what this is three randomizers with not touching any of like the fantasy points. So this is kind of where Fantasy Cruncher has it. This is going to be what the optimizers spitting out right now. So you can see Mason Rudolph becomes very popular with Ben Roethlisberger out. We'll get more into that. Ingram, Johnson, Godwin, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Fairmouth, DeAndre Swift, and Bills defense. You know, it switches out. They give you your top 3 plays. So I'll also show you the FanDuel one real quick. That's Josh Allen with Johnson, Swift, Williams, Keenan Allen, which is kind of silly because why would you have two? It's just how the optimizer worked this, but why would you have right here tells me all day to put Justin Herbert in this lineup if I'm playing both Chargers receivers, top receivers. I mean, if they're going to have their biggest days, Justin Herbert's going to have a monster day, right? Allen's in a great spot, don't get me wrong. All right, what's up, Joe? Good to see you, man. James Washington is a great play this week. Yes, I'll get into it. So we're going to go game by game. We'll also build lineups. Let me... Oh, coming. I'll just get this set up. But we're going to go through game by game first, and we'll do a DraftKings FanDuel lineup. I'll show you guys where I'm at for cash. What up, Nate? What's going on, brother? I got you guys' stuff that did get stuff in auctions. I got it packaged up. I'll be printing the labels today and dropping it off, so it'll be heading your way tomorrow morning. But, all right, let's do it. So, obviously, on my score app, it's always going to show my Vikes first because they're like my favorite team because I'm from Minnesota. So, let's just get right into one of the top highest point totals of the week, which would be the Vikes at the Chargers in LA. This game should be fireworks. Now, the last time I was heavy on the Vikings game in DFS, it was a high point total with Cleveland. And you guys remember what happened. There was a total of 21 points scored. Vegas had it completely wrong. I hope they're not wrong here. I love, on the Chargers side, I love Justin Herbert this week. You can see the optimizer even loves the likes of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. I have a lot of lineups that have Herbert with Allen and Williams, or with Williams and Cook. I don't think I ran any with just Keenan Allen. That might be a mistake, but that's just where I'm feeling. I'm heavier. If I were to pick one of the two guys, I'm heavier on Mike Williams this week. And then some with Jared Cook as well. I am running that back. You know, we've talked about this throughout the weeks. The normal build construction, especially with tournaments, is typically if you stack a team, you run it back with a player. We're finding out more and more as I listen to other people as well that you almost get more unique if you don't run it back. with someone from the other team, because you know, if they're gonna have monster games, right? Like, especially if a quarterback and a receiver are gonna go off, it's more likely gonna be a shootout. Because if a team gets 20, 21 points ahead, they're not gonna keep throwing the ball, right? They're gonna run the ball, and that's where you gotta look at game scripts when you're building your lineups, and you gotta think about it. Okay, like games that have a huge spread, like favored on one side, like heavy, you gotta think about like, hey, in the second half of the game, are they going to be up by 21? Or are they just going to run the ball? Who's the running backs there? Are they guys that is it a running back by committee? Is it really just a one-man running back show there? Those are the types of running backs you want to attack then, right? Now, does it always work out that way? No, it does not. That's why we play the game. We don't know the outcomes. That's why we do it, right? So, Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Jared Cook. I don't think I would do a full-on stack with playing both Allen, Williams, and Cook, but I would do either an Allen Williams with Herbert or a Williams and a Cook with Herbert. And then I'm going to run it back with Dalvin Cook. Now, you could look to like a Justin Jefferson as well. You could look at Adam Thielen. You could also even look at like a Conklin at tight end to run it back with if you wanted to, if you weren't doing Jared Cook. I wouldn't recommend doing a 2 tight end build this week with a tight end in your flex. I'm not seeing the winning lineups have multiple tight ends in them this week. So that's where I'm going to be there. Again, an interesting playback. You know, if you have faith in Kirk Cousins and you think this is going to be a shootout and it's going to be a close game, could possibly even be looking at something like a Kirk Cousins with a Thielen or Justin Jefferson and Conklin or whatever, and then running it back with an Eckler. Or I wouldn't put Eckler. I would not stack Eckler with Herbert. Even though he gets receptions, he's a multi-purpose running back. He's very involved in the offense. I never pair running backs with quarterbacks. They just don't correlate enough. He's not getting, 12, 15 receptions. He's going to get maybe 6, 7, on a high end. So that's where I'm at there. Let's move on. We got Tampa Bay at Washington. Tom Brady. They're favored by 9.5. So again, this is a game where, do I really feel like Washington can keep up in Washington? Possibly. Anything's possible, right? But do I really feel like that's something that's going to happen? I don't know. I think that I would be heavier on someone like a Leonard Fournette this week. If Antonio Brown was playing this week, you guys already know my takes on Antonio Brown. I've been talking about him all year. When he's active, he is must play. He's plug in, because until his price is $9,000 and he's up there with Devontae Adams, he's the old Antonio this week, but he's not playing, right? Godwin's expected to play. You got Mike Evans. You can go Brady if you want, or I think Brady's in a great spot. I feel like they're just going to dominate here. But now, is this a game where Tom Brady just shows his dominance and throws for 4 touchdown passes? He's had plenty of these types of looks pre-game where the spreads are where they're at, and still went out and just mangled them and threw 3, 4 touchdown passes. On the Washington side, I don't really like anybody. If you want to take a stab at a very low-owned stack, it would be Washington with like Scary McLaurin and Tyler Heineke. I'm not big on Gibson against Tampa Bay's defense. I'm not really liking to go there. Now, the next game, the Lions at the Steelers. Yes, Ben Roethlisberger is out this week. I think it almost benefits Pittsburgh a little bit more that he's actually out, right? Roethlisberger has not been that great this season. Now, we don't know what we're going to get out of Mason Rudolph, right? We haven't really seen him play a game or a full game for a while. But I feel like, now this is where James Washington is interesting. Terry asked about James Washington. James Washington is a very cheap option, cheap play here. And there's the narratives that him and Mason Rudolph used to shower together, right? They went to college, played college ball together or whatever. So, interesting take there. Interesting take here. I love the tight end, that Fairmount dude. He has just been balling this season. Like, he was just a monster. Did you guys see that touchdown catch he had this last week? Where he just jumped, he went up over like great tight ends and receivers do, and basically caught the ball, jumped up over and caught the ball in front of the defender. Like, that's the kind of things, like, you want your players. That's where you're going to get the monster upside, is the guys that are going to attack, that are going to go after it and get it. So, huge fans there. I'm not huge on running it back on this game. Even if I were to stack something, which it could be possible, I build a lineup or two with it. The quarterback's super cheap. You know, you can go there. I like Deontay Johnson as well this week with Claypool out. I think he's a great play. So this is an interesting one where you could go like a Mason Rudolph stack with like a Washington and I'm having a brain fart now. I just said his name too. Deontay Johnson. But Najee Harris is a beast as well. So if you don't want to get involved in any of this pass game, Najee Harris plays like every snap of the game. Like, that's the dude. If you're looking for someone that's going to give you monster upside, his price tag is not cheap. You're going to pay for him. But he's kind of that Christian McCaffrey, if you will, this year. Maybe not getting quite the same outcome with his production and his touches, but it's there. He is utilized with this team so much. He's probably going to be utilized a little bit more, right? With Mason Rudolph being his first start this season playing. So Harris is an interesting. He's expensive. I get it. He's very expensive, but I think he may be worth it. Saints at the Titans. Man, this Tennessee Titans team is for real, isn't it? They got Alvin Kamara is out this week. So obviously Mark Ingram's going to be very, very popular for much due. He's going to be the guy that's going to get the touches there. You know, they don't have Latavius Murray anymore there. If Murray was still there, this would be a spot where everybody would be looking at Ingram, and I'd be saying play Latavius Murray, because when he gets in there and gets the option, he just beast modes the L train. But I also don't mind Harris. Harris on DraftKings. I think he's like $4,000. I have him, the receiver for the Saints. I have him in a bunch of lineups. He's been known to find the end zone. Been known to get some of those receptions. He's a down the field, big play make type guy who's small, fast. So I do like Harris here. On the Tennessee side, I love their defense this week. I honestly do, especially with Kamara out. It's a 43.5 point total. Titans are favored by 3. I actually think the Titans win by more than 3 here. I'm a fan of Tennessee's defense. I don't mind AJ Brown. If you were to tell me, Def, I'm playing Tannehill this week in a GPP, it wouldn't scare me. It would be probably a very low-owned option, but something like with him and AJ Brown, I think is Julio. Julio is playing, I believe, this week as well. Julio just hasn't done much, though. So that's kind of where I'm at there. Dallas and Falcons. I love this game, guys. The Cowboys looked like crap last week, right? I think this is a huge bounce-back week for Dallas. I think Dak Prescott is one of the top quarterback options this week on this slate, this main slate. He's getting back Michael Gallup, guys. Michael Gallup is a very cheap option. In fact, on FanDuel, he's $5,500. Let me see what his price tag is here. He's $4,000, guys. He's $4,000 on DraftKings. I think he is someone you throw in a stack if you're going to play a stack with Dak. Or if you're not going to play Dak and you're not going to stack the Cowboys, if you're looking for a cheap receiver that's going to have massive upside this week, Michael Gallup is a guy you can look to, right? Now, on the Atlanta side, Zeke, I'm not big on him. Some people are. Some people think he's going to have a great week. It's a shitty defense. I like the pass attack side of this game more because I think more people are looking at the run attack with Zeke. I'm not really big on Zeke personally. He's in a great spot, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not a big fan of him. I haven't been a big fan of him all season, to be honest with you. And then the Falcons side, you got the likes of Cordell Patterson, just continues to beast. He's giving you that running back / receiver. I mean, he's really giving you chances at there's a lot of upside there with him. I mean, he's surprised me, right? He's kind of always been that special teams guy. He's always been that guy that, he ran returns back, some of the longest returns in NFL history. He's got the speed. He's got the size for sure. But now he's kind of playing that role where he can be that running back as well when they need somebody. Mike Davis just has not been able to get it done for them. So Cordell Patterson, obviously Ridley is out. You got that Zephos Zifos or whatever his name is. I don't know how to pronounce it. Give you another cheap option to kind of take a stab at. Matt Ryan, I mean, if you think this game is going to be closer and be a shootout, it's a high point total of 54.5. If you don't like Dak here, Matt Ryan is a interesting option with a likes of a Kyle Pitts, maybe a Cordell Patterson. See, now Cordell Patterson, I think he's running back on DraftKings. He's more, you look at him more as a receiver, right? So this would be one guy that if you were, I'm not saying we're doing this. In fact, I'm going to take him out here, but I'm going to show you in a second. If you were to do this and then put like Kyle Pitts in, I would say there's more correlation here, right? Because Cordell Patterson, he wides out a lot. He's not always in the backfield. He's not in the backfield much. I mean, he gets like what, 10 looks, 10 touches or so, 12 touches in the backfield, and the rest he's wide out. So, interesting takes there. Again, I'm big on Dallas just having a big game this week. So, I think when I have the red zone on this weekend, I think I'm going to see a lot of Dallas in the red zone. You know, Dak doing this, doing that, possibly punching one in with his own legs. So, we'll see what happens. Next game I got on the radar is Cleveland Browns at the New England Patriots. Patriots 45-point total. Patriots favored by 2.5. Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Again, pretty low point total. I don't like him that much against Cleveland. The only guy that really sticks out who's going to be very chalky is going to be D'Ernest Johnson, obviously, with the COVID protocol for Nick Chubb. If Nick Chubb was in, we would be talking the likes of Nick Chubb this week. But, yeah, D'Ernest Johnson is obviously in a great spot. He's in a smash spot. So, Tom T, good morning, buddy. Good to see you. Fester, what's up, brother? Julio is on IR. Okay, so Julio is on IR. So, going back to, yeah, that's why I said I'm big on A.J. Brown. I just didn't remember that off the top of my head. I'm not seeing IRs and outs right now. Trying to think anyone else, Patriots or the Browns. Hunter Henry, I say his name like every single week. At a tight end option, he seems to find the end zone, I think, just about every single weekend. So, again, I'm not really sure where his price tag lands. Like on DraftKings, I mean, he's 4,100. Again, you got Fearmouth at 39, who's just been beasting, right? He's cheaper. Ali Cox, we'll get into Jared Cook's 3,200. I mean, we got a lot of cheaper options. Fursker is always a sneaky tight end option at a cheap price tag if you are going somewhere like Tannehill. So just keep those things in mind. Buffalo Bills at New York Jets. Now here, this is a game that Vegas is screaming at us, and we know that they got this wrong last week, right? With the Jaguars. They got beat by the Jaguars. Josh Allen beat Josh Allen. Josh Allen looked in the mirror on the offensive side, and he got crushed when he looked in the mirror from his opposing Josh Allen, if you will. So I think this is a huge bounce back for Buffalo. I don't think it's a close game. I think they go out and smash. I think Josh Allen has a monster game this week with the likes of Diggs, Cole Beasley, some of those Emmanuel Sanders you could throw in there, right? But the guy I'm going to look at in tournaments this week on this is going to be Zach Moss, right? Zach Moss was put out last week from concussion or whatever. He's back this week. This game right here. Allen's going to be a huge part of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Zach Moss is going to be the reason why these guys smash. What I'm saying is Josh Allen is going to do what he needs to do. They're going to get a big lead here, and then it's going to be Zach Moss just getting rush by rush by rush. I think Zach Moss is a huge, huge play this week. Could be a pivot off of someone like a Mark Ingram, right? Or D'Ernest Johnson, if you will. So I'm liking Zach Moss this week. Jet side, Mike White. I mean, if you want to take a stab, if we have some Mike White believers out there who really feel like he's a real deal, Knox is back at tight end, so he is. Knox is a great deal too. What's up, Jason? Good morning, brother. How you doing, man? Cheers to the coffee. Like McLaren here. All right, cool. I'm just trying to catch up. I believe Tannehill is playing. Yes, Tannehill is playing. I'm pretty sure he is. All right. All right, so Zach Moss, again, Mike White, if you like him. A guy you guys need to keep on your radar is that Elijah Moore, that rookie receiver. He is somebody you got to keep on your radar. He could be somebody if you think this is going to be a shootout and be a closer game, or if you're actually playing a Mike White, which I'm not advising, I'm saying you want to take a super high risk, potential high reward. We've seen what he could do. I would be stacking him with somebody like an Elijah Moore, right? That's where I'd be going with that. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. So here's another spot where I think a lot of people are heavy on Jonathan Taylor, and I get it. He's in a great spot. He's in a smash spot. I have him in some of my lineups, but I'm not going heavy on him. And I'm not going heavy on him because I don't want to do what everybody else is doing everywhere, right? I actually like Carson Wentz here. I actually like Michael Pittman here. I actually like Mo Alley Cox here. I don't mind an Indianapolis Colts stack, and actually, you could stack. Now, this is one time that I would say that I would stack someone maybe like Jonathan Taylor with the quarterback, where I say they usually don't correlate because they usually don't. But this is somewhere where I could see Carson Wentz throwing for 3 touchdowns, and then it kind of being a Jonathan Taylor show the last quarter or so, quarter and a half. He'll already be involved. Like, he may already have a touchdown or 2 anyway, right? Because he's a big part of their offense. Jacksonville side, I don't like anybody this week against these Colts, right? Colts defense isn't a bad defense at all to look at to play either. I mean, they are coming off that win against Buffalo, but I think that was just a sloppy game for Buffalo. That was just a terrible, terrible, terrible game scripted, terrible game calling. I don't know. I think Josh woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Got we already talked about it. Allen got the best of him. So, again, Taylor isn't a great smash spot, but I like the likes of Wentz, Pittman, Mo Alley Cox. So, and if I'm playing this game, I'm not running it back with anybody in Jacksonville. Even if I'm stacking, I'm not going to run it back. I'm going to be different, right? Because if someone else is stacking the Colts, if they were, again, most of the time, they're going to look to run it back with somebody. That's where your lineup can get different, right? From other people that are building the same type of lineup with the same type of players, if that makes sense. So I stack Pittman and Taylor with Wentz. Time or 2, just hope Hines don't get... Yeah, that's the problem, man. You got Hines there who just always sneaks in and gets that 1 or 2, right? The Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona's favored by 9. Another great defensive spot, I think, here. I don't know. We'll see what CMC what he can do. But, man, how about Connor Strong, man? James Conner, like... I honestly, besides him having like those nagging injuries, right, when he was in Pittsburgh, like he was just full beast mode in Pittsburgh. And then they just got the Najee Harris crap, whatever, last season. They just throw him aside. Like, this dude is incredible. This dude is a beast. He knows how to find pay dirt. He knows how to get to the end zone. He has 10 touchdowns this season. He is tied for first in the NFL on TDs. I love James Conner again this week. I'm going to go right back to him. He was my playmaker last week. He could be the playmaker again this week. I'm calling it. He's getting paid her twice this week again. 2 TDs for the guy. Panthers side, they're bringing Cam Newton back. Obviously, I don't think Cam would play this week, but they did sign him. They did bring him back. That's good for Cam. That's where he started. Happy for him. But I don't really like anybody. I'm just CMC. He's one of the best when he's healthy and when he's great. But they overutilize this guy. And he's going to have injuries follow him his whole career because he's overutilized. He's overused. I get it. He's their best player on that team. But you got to find ways to work around him and use him as decoys and whatnot and not just give him the ball every single time. That's why the guy gets hurt, in my opinion. So, again, James Conner would be my likes. Kyler was still questionable. Is Kyler playing? I think he is. You could go to the pass side of this game as well, being a 9-point favor Arizona. If D-Hop, I know he was questionable last I looked. Rondell Moore, I think, is out. Someone like A.J. Green. is a name that would stick out there if I'm throwing on the pass game. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Denver Broncos. Denver is favored by 1.5 points. I just look at this game, and personally, I don't think there's. Sometimes when you're building lineups in DFS, in any sport, sometimes there's just games you got to cross off, right? Like you got to just cross them off and not even include them in the player pool. Just eliminate them, right? Just take them out of there. Just get rid of them. This would be one of those games that I think I would look at doing. Low point total. It is a close game. It could go completely opposite. Vegas does get things wrong. We know that. We see that. No Murray, no Hopkins. So they are out for sure. For an ESPN, Mercy 9. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I know he was questionable like yesterday or whatever, so I did not have a chance to see. Moore expected to play. So Joby1 comes in and says Moore is expected to play. But again, without Kyler Murray, I don't think so, man. It's a James Conner show this week. I think James Conner is where you look going back to that Arizona, Carolina. I don't think you look anywhere else. I think that's it, man. I think James Conner, this Eagles-Broncos game, unless someone else can tell me something or convince me some other way that somebody from Philly or Denver we should have in our lineups this week, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move on to the last and final game of the main slates. At the 3 o'clock, the Seattle Seahawks at the Packers. Or most likely to play. Okay. So Seattle is at Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 3. I'm telling you guys, man, I think, is Aaron Rodgers, is he officially active from the whole COVID deal? He is, right? I see this possibly being an Aaron Rodgers day, guys. I have not heard many people talk about him. I have not heard many people bring him up. I've heard a lot of talk of Davante Adams, which he should be talked about every single week, right? But if Davante Adams is going to have a big week, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a big week. Like, Davante Adams doesn't have a big week without Aaron Rodgers, right? It's not possible, right? He's not a running back, right? Unless he takes a handoff sweep around or something, like a receiver sweep around, takes a handoff from Aaron Rodgers. For him to have a big week, he's going to have to be involved, right? Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Yep, Russell Wilson's playing today too. So on the other side of that, you got Wilson coming back for his first. I'd be a little iffy. Now, this is another thing that I'll tell you guys. When players like myself or anyone else or touts out there go, hey, I'd be a little iffy about this guy because he's just coming off an injury. We don't really know. We're not sure. That's typically when you can take a player like that and you plug him in and you play him. And if they have a monster game, they're very low owned, right? So another leverage play. Russell Wilson would be a big leverage play this week, as well as Aaron Rodgers would be, right? Even though they're two big, great names, Wilson coming off his injury, Rodgers coming off of COVID protocol. Man, but I really like Aaron Rodgers. You know what? Looking at this, I'm looking at this going, I'm going to enjoy. Like, 2 out of these 3 late games today, I'm going to enjoy. And I'm glad I got the red zone. So I just get the insides. But if I was watching a game, I'd love to watch that Seattle Green Bay game all out. It'll probably be on Fox. It'll probably be game of the week. Fortunately, I'll keep it going with the red zone just to stay up on all the games and not have to be looking at my phone every 2 seconds. But Packers, man. And if you don't like Aaron Rodgers and you don't like Davante Adams, go back to Aaron Jones, man. He burned me. He burned me last week. He burned me. Jordan Love burned me. You know, we didn't really know what we get out of Love, but Love was so cheap. I played Love in cash because he was so cheap, and he just did squat. Him and Adams did squat. And I had Aaron Jones in a lot of GPP lineups, and he did nothing. I think this is a huge bounce back. I think Rodgers has a big week. I think Jones has a big week. I think Davante Adams has a big week. I think Russell Wilson he gets himself back in. I think he has a decent game. But again, this could be a spot where Russell Wilson just goes off. Just goes off, right? They're the underdogs going into this game. 49.5 point total in the old historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Sunday afternoon, right? Probably going to be game of the week on television, national televised game. Man. It's got the works for sparks of fireworks. I only watch the GOAT Tom Brady games, and most importantly, I only bet on the GOAT. There you go. Well, some people only do. Some people only. You got to do you, boo. But when you play DFS, if you play Tom Brady every single week, it's probably at the end of the day in DFS is probably not going to pay out for you, even though he has great games. But he's not typically going to be the highest scoring quarterback DFS wise week in and week out. All right, guys, let's get into building. Rodgers will be in a lineup for sure, Fester says. Fester is kind of on the same page. I am. Melvin Gordon. Yeah, I mean, Gordon's always that guy, but, you know, who else you got over there? You always got this running back by committee thing in Denver, which you got. Is Javonte Williams, is he in still or is he out? Because that would be another guy. If you want to talk about sleepers, he's showing, no, he's active. He's active. Will be game log horrors here. But, yeah, he had 17 attempts, 111 yards against Dallas last week. Not bad, right? So, it's another guy. He's 5,000. But again, guys, why do we even have to go there when you got guys like that are going to be very chalky? You got Mark Ingram, who's going to be the all-out back. They're going up against a tough Tennessee team, defense, very physical up front. But 4,500, you got the other guy that's going to be very chalky, right? 4,700 for the Browns against New England. I mean, I don't know. I think I would take those two. Again, it's going to be a great GPP pivot move because Ingram and Johnson are both going to be chalky. So, did I miss you telling the good people to? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I told them, I already said, like, my heavy GPP play this week is Justin Herbert's on the thumbnail, right? Stacking him with either Keenan Allen and Mike Williams or going Herbert, Williams, and Jared Cook, and then running it back with Dalvin Cook. So that's my, I'm all in on, I'm pretty much all in on Cook as well this week. I think he has a big week with the whole media crap and all the eyes on him, etc. All right, guys. So we just went through all the games. Now, where do we go here? Where do we build? What do we do? Right? Look at Mason Rudolph against a terrible Detroit. Look at this. Hasn't played a game this year. But look at this. $4,100. $4,100. Against a terrible Detroit Lions team. Super cheap. Where do we want to go here? What up, Ben? How you been, man? Good to see you. Saucy, what up, bro? Nav and Jefferson, I think he's going to be a surprise. Yeah. Yo. What up, Paul? Yeah. I mean, we already talked about Harris. I already brought up Harris. He's going to be on the field every single play, but you're going to pay for him, right? I mean, he's not too bad on DraftKings. He's 7,900, but on FanDuel, oh my god, dude, he is. On FanDuel, he is $9,400. He's the same as Jonathan Taylor. You got CMC right here. So this way you got like Eckler, 86, Cook, 85, Jones, 82, Patterson. Fournette we talked about. I think he's in a great game spot. James Conner we talked about, right? McNichols, Melvin Gordon that was brought up as a sneaky play. Zach Moss I talked about. I love Zach Moss this week. He was actually in the he was in a top winning lineup last week, and he went out with a concussion. He didn't have a monster game, but he was in that lineup. But I think this is a big... So here's your Javonte Williams. But again, there's no reason to pay here, right? Against Philly at 5,800 when you can pay 55 or you can pay 54 for two guys that are in just absolute smash spots. The problem with Williams and Gordon is they're going to share time, right? Ingram is not. Johnson's really not. He's going to be kind of that guy to go to. So, Rudolph, a good play. Sloppy rain, snow mix, Lions blow. Tom T is just like If you use Dalvin, you almost have to use Ingram. Use Dalvin, you almost have to use Ingram. Oh, most definitely. And you know what? I'm not even... If you want to really pay up at receivers and pay up at quarterback this week, I'm not even opposed to you playing both Ingram, Johnson, and then Cook and flex, right? But I really, 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 really like to get James Conner in there as well this week. And Leonard Fournette's another name. Like, we have a lot of running backs. We have a lot of decisions to make, right? Here's what I would tell you. If I have a player, if I'm condensing a player pool, right? So for running backs, here's my running back player pool this week, right? So it's going to be, I mean, you could say Harris. I don't like Harris at all on FanDuel. He's too expensive. 9,400 is just too much. He's going to be on the field. I get it every single play. He's in a great spot, but $9,400 is just too much for that price tag. If he was 8,500, you know, somewhere around there, I would say so. But D Cook, right? Got to put Eckler in there, right? On lineups, you're not doing Cook and you're not doing like Justin Herbert with the pass side of the game, right? Zach Moss. I'm gonna say Mark Ingram. I'm gonna say James Conner. And I'm gonna say Dearness Johnson. Okay. So if I have a player pool of running backs, I'm gonna limit it to Harris, Cook, Eckler, Moss, Ingram, Conner, Johnson. That's it. And Eckler's probably not going to really make much of anything on FanDuel. Harris is probably not going to make much of anything. Oh, wait. Leonard Fournette. My bad. Got thrown Fournette. So here's probably where my running back player pool would be. This is FanDuel, right? Because DK Harris is 7,900, so he's a little bit more affordable. So FanDuel, my running back player pool is going to be the likes of Dalvin Cook, Zach Moss, Mark Ingram, James Conner, Dearness Johnson, and Leonard Fournette. So 2, 4... basically 6 running backs, right? So mixing them up in your builds, depending on how many lineups you build, you know, obviously making sure that the correlation's right. Like if you have a quarterback with that, you're not going to put that running back in. Everyone's on Jonathan Taylor, I get it, but I would rather go to the pass side of that game on that cold side and go like Wentz and Michael Pittman, right? Things of that nature. On the Pittsburgh side, same thing. I'd rather go to the throw side because everybody's going to go Harris because they know he's in a smash spot. They're talking about him, but he's so expensive. Mason Rudolph, what, $4,100? What is he on FanDuel? I didn't even look yet. He's 63. He's quite a bit more expensive on FanDuel, right? FanDuel's got it a little bit more accurate. So I think on DK, you can kind of take advantage of that price tag if you want to build a lineup. I'm not saying build all your lineups with Mason Rudolph. He could absolutely go out and just do terrible. But at 4,100, he's literally got to do what? Get a touchdown for you, throw for 100 yards, 150 yards, touchdown, to probably get a couple yards on his feet in a scramble. I mean, for 4,100, you don't need much. I don't like Harris without Ben. I'd rather have... Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I agree. Allen, Diggs, Knox, Stack is where I'm starting my first. So Josh Allen, yeah, I mean, that's... You know, and if we look back at the Fantasy Cruncher... Again, this is just the optimal without changing any projections. This is theirs because you can switch it to different ones. Look at... I still don't understand this, though, right? So this is what it spits out. I get Josh Allen. I love it. I love him this week. But it's crazy how the optimizer has Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in the first main one. And even in all of them. In all 3 of them, the main ones. Right? And then they run it back with Justin Jefferson on this one. This is the only run back one. But you can't have 2 top receivers in a lineup and not play that quarterback because, again, we have to think about this, right? Numbers-wise. DFS is all about numbers, right? It's a numbers game. How does Mike Williams and how does Keenan Allen go off and have high-ceiling games, right? They're receivers. They catch the ball. Unless Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, they're going to do some kind of, some different kind of offensive script on some plays, and Mike Williams, Keenan Allen's going to hike the ball as quarterback, right? Do the old college shit, and then he's going to throw it to Mike Williams for a touchdown, and then Mike Williams is going to be doing that, and they're going to do that 4 times each way. I get it. Makes sense. But this doesn't make sense. Like, this right here, on this build right here, should tell you to plug in. To plug in Justin Herbert, right? Yeah, well, Swift's just so heavily involved. I mean, right? He's like the main focal point of their offense. So you could compare Swift, you could compare Swift to like a Najee Harris, if you will, because he is really the focal point. Besides Hawkinson, who has been kind of quiet the last couple weeks, Swift is very involved in that. But I get it. I don't like Swift either, right? I don't like him either, right? But we got Connor here, so we got Fairmouth, we got these guys, we got Johnson, we got Allen, right? So let's build. Let's do our FanDuel one first, and then we'll do our DraftKings build. So who do we want to go for at who do we want to pick for defense, or not defense, for quarterback? I'd hope Rudolph helmet falls off. Someone tries to help him quarterback. I don't like Garrett did that one time. Can't believe Van's come true. Yeah. So guys, who do we want to play at quarterback? This on this build, for our build, we do one build together every week on both deals. Where are we going here, right? Oh, let me get that. We got Allen, Brady. So yeah, he was questionable, but we say he's doubtful, I guess. Game time decision. We got Dak, right? Justin Herbert, we talked about. Aaron Rodgers, right? Hurts, Wilson, Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Heineke, Mike White, McCoy, Mac Jones, Mason Rudolph, Herbert, Rodgers or Allen, or cheaper Wentz. All right, let's just do Herbert since I'm big on Herbert. He made my thumbnail. He's going to be big on. I do like Rodgers, though. Again, guys, I don't know why Aaron Rodgers just keeps, like, staring at me with, like, I'm looking at that laser beam red eye thing where his helmet's smashed. Like, all right, so we obviously got to pair him, right? So are we going to double receive stack him? Are we just going to do a mini stack with him? Are we going to put Allen and Williams in? Are we going to do just Williams? Are we going to put Jared Cook at tight end? Or are we just going to do just a mini stack with them? What do you guys like here? So again, price wise, we got Keenan Allen. He's playing, it sounds like. Expected to play, it says. That's what it said earlier today. So we got Keenan Allen 72, Mike Williams at 69. Just Mike Williams? Okay, I like that. All right, so just Mike Williams. I think we agreed that we're going to run probably Cook back. I don't know, maybe we didn't. Maybe you guys can talk me off it. But we'll do this, okay? So we'll do that. So now running back. Who do we like more? Do we like Ingram more, or do we like Dearness Johnson? Which one do we feel is in a better spot on the cheap side? They're about the same price, right? Dearness Johnson's $4,700 and Ingram's $4,500. That's what I'm saying, Fester. I'm telling you, man. This is an Aaron Rodgers day. I can just feel it already. I feel like he's going to win somebody a lot of money today. Just feel it. Last time I felt that, the guys I was on was in the Millie lineup and I didn't play anybody, right? Remember that? I'm not going to do that this time. Remember that? Remember that? In fact, this was Justin Herbert like 4 or 5 weeks ago that I said, if I was trying to take down a Millie, I would look at someone like this guy when he was not owned. Yep. Go Johnson here. We'll get that one filled out. Or it's 54. My bad. I'm thinking DraftKings pricing. I was thinking DraftKings pricing. All right. So let's figure out our tight end and our defense, and then we know what we have to work with for the flex and the 2 other receiver spots. So we can pay up at Pitts, Hawkinson. Schultz is interesting at 6,000. That's another guy I forgot to kind of mention with the Dallas stack with Prescott. If you're going to stack Dak. Goddard, people talked about Knox. Knox is interesting, right? He knows how to find pay dirt. He's been out a couple weeks. Well, I mean, it's not as much. See, the Saints got the Saints have Titans. They have a much tougher. They have a very strong front defensive line. I don't know that I want to pay all the way up for Pitts personally, but I think Knox is interesting, right? He comes back. He knows how to find the end zone. You know, we could just keep this a mini stack. We don't have to go to Cook necessarily on the tight end. Hunter Henry, Conklin. We go somewhere like here, Knox, right? He always finds the end zone. All right, so Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Colts is a good defense. Arizona's interesting. I really like the Titans, especially with the no Kamara. They're 4,100 this week, right? Let's see who else. Washington, Chargers we're not going to do because we're on Cook. Jets against Buffalo. No, thank you. Lions, Falcons. Packers against Seattle at home. Probably not. Dallas at Atlanta is interesting, but they can get burned too. Like Arizona's defense against Carolina. I think that's good. I don't mind anybody opposed to Arizona. So if we pay up at Arizona, we're at 4,800. If we go down to Titans, they're 4,100. So we save ourselves $800. So do we save the $700 salary and just play Tennessee then? On this one anyway. We'll see what it looks like on DraftKings, because DraftKings defensive pricings are just way different. Well, Tennessee, okay, we'll do that. So now that leaves us at 7,100. We got 2 receiver spots and we got a flex spot, right? So got Devontae Adams up top, Metcalf, Diggs, right? But if we did Diggs, and you would turn this to a Josh Allen, right? Because you already have Knox in there. So if you went Knox, you know, the Allen, Diggs, Knox, like I think Terry or somebody said he already had stacked, which is a good stack. It's an awesome stack. CD Lamb, AJ Brown, right? AJ Brown's sitting there. Deontay Johnson we talked about. Cooper, Amari Cooper, Evans, Pittman we talked about. We like this week, or I like. Daniel Sanders, Judy, Beasley, Jones, Elijah Moore, right? Michael Gallup, I talked about. I think he's in for a big week coming off the injury. I think that dude's just too cheap, right? Zashuish, whatever his name. Deontay Harris on DK. I like him on DK at 4,000. I think he's sneaky. James Washington, right? 5,100. We talked about James Washington a little bit. AJ Brown, Pittman, Terry says Gallup should be a solid ad. Yeah, I know. He's just so cheap. So let's see what happens with this, okay? That will leave us at 79. And then Terry said AJ Brown, Pittman. Right? So Pittman was 7,200. AJ Brown is 76. We have 79 apiece. Let's see. So if we did this, that would leave us at 82 on our flex. Aaron Jones, Metcalf, Elliott, Diggs, Patterson. Let me just see something once here. Put Pittman in. Let me just see where we sit. 6. Oh, wow. That not a good correlation. I was going to say that lands us Eckler at 86, but Jones. What do you guys think? Just so Oops. Like Connor, we talked about, right? With no Murray, dude, he's got to be heavily involved. He's only 7,000 though, right? So we could get different. Let me see something once here. Let me just throw Connor here once. No, that doesn't really do anything for us. So let's see. Gallup, I do really like though. So Lockett, McLaren, Thielen. What do we do here? Go Zach Moss. So yeah, but then we got Moss and Knox. I don't like that. I don't like them together. We'd have to put a different tight end in then. And I don't like that. We'd have to, if I don't like having Moss and Knox together. It doesn't correlate very well. That leaves us 500. It's a lot to leave on the table, but we could leave 500 on the table and do something like that. Or we could even go up the Buffalo defense, but again, that could be scary too. We already saw what happened. Not to say that they're going to have it again. Pat at tight end instead of Knox. And then what? And then what do we do? Then what do we do here? Are you saying keep that? Is go up here? I think Gallup's in such a good spot. I think that price is like almost like a free square, I feel. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Knox is like, I like Pat this week. I don't mind him, but I don't know. I think here, I don't know, maybe we just be different, right? People don't like to leave money on the table. I talk about this. I've talked about this in previous weeks. Sometimes you leave a little salary on the table because that, again, is going to make your lineup unique in a way. Like if people are on a lot of these players, they're afraid, right? Like they try to do whatever they can to pay up that salary, and sometimes that ends up screwing you because it's changing in changing the direction that you're going. I really like, if we're going to have Connor here, to have Arizona's defense, pairing the defense up with the running back if you can. You don't want to do that if obviously like we wouldn't want to do Minnesota's defense, right? Because we're playing Justin Herbert because Justin's playing them and the receivers. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, man, Eloy, wait till you can, man. At some point it'll happen. It'll be awesome, man. It's fucking amazing time. It's so great. Cool. Yeah, buddy. So, do we just leave it? Let's just leave it. Right? Yeah, right. But it doesn't really get us anywhere, right? Because like if we go here, you gotta also see where it takes us. So if we go here, like I don't like anybody at receiver. Like you're not gonna get off of Williams, right? Unless you go to Keenan Allen, which is only $300. But at 6,700, I don't like Kirk. I don't like Sutton. I don't like Sanders. I don't like Judy. I don't like Devontae Smith. I don't like Landry. I mean, I don't mind Beasley, but then again, if we're doing Beasley, I mean, I think Knox is a better spot than Beasley would be, right? At tight end over that receiver. T.Y. Hilton, Gage, Marvin Jones. I mean, Elijah Moore, if we think against Buffalo, that's not a good spot. Like Jacoby Myers, maybe he's the same price. I would take Gallup over Myers all day. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing there. We don't gain anything in this lineup with that $700. Because, right, if we go back to Knox, right? If we go back to Knox, we don't, that 500 we have in this, we don't, there's $700 difference, right? If we go down to Fearmouth, that gets us to 1,200, right, instead of 500. I don't think that does anything for it. Plus it's raining or whatever, and piss. Yeah, but again, you got to be careful on the weather thing. I mean, especially Fester. Think about this: like, who's gonna take more advantage if the weather is bad and they're gonna pass? Who's gonna take more advantage in the pass game? Deep receivers? Or is it going to be the tight ends, right? The running backs running it in the tight ends, right? Short passes, typically, if the weather is really that bad. So again, that bad weather would just more or less point to like that him being in a good spot. I wouldn't shy that away. Remember we talked about this before. I've seen it time and time. I've done it in past years where they talk about wind. Oh, it's super windy in Buffalo this week, right? Super windy in Buffalo, and Josh Allen's in a smash spot. And because we hear it's windy and it's an outdoor stadium, blah, 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 then we get off of Josh Allen. And what does Josh Allen do? He goes out and he throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. Because it really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter. Now, bad weather, rain and stuff, yes, has more of an effect. They're probably not going to throw as much deep routes, but that is only a benefit more to someone like a tight end, right? So, yeah, it's huge for tight ends. So that's where, again, you gotta really think this through. The processes we're doing, the way we're building, weather and all, we do have to take that into account. But also, we have to make sure that it still makes sense. Like, that we're saying the weather is really getting us away from this guy or that guy. Like, because, again, see it week in and week out, bad weather. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over to DraftKings. We're going to leave this the way it is. We're going to leave 500 on the table for this. Okay? So, and we're going to go to DraftKings. And we're going to build a DraftKings lineup. All right? So, quarterback. So, Josh Allen, 79. Brady is 76. Herbert, 73. Aaron Rodgers is 71. Prescott, 69. Wilson, 67. Tannehill, 62. Cousins, 61. Ryan, 6,000. Wentz, 5,900. Let's see. And then this is where, like, we talked about $4,100 for your boy Mason Rudolph. Who do we like here, guys? Who do we like? Where are we going with this build? Where are we going? Which quarterback we want to build here? Do we want to do Aaron Rodgers this time? Do we want to do Wentz this time? Yeah, Rodgers just in case. So I would assume if Rodgers is going to have a big game, Devontae Adams is probably going to be a big center piece of that game as well. Run back, I mean, I don't know that we would run anybody back in this game, but let's make our decision on the Ingram. Ingram is 45, and Deion, I think we already said they're about, we'll just go with the same thing because we kind of talked, the pricing is basically the same. It's a $200 difference. It's not going to make much difference at the end. Tight end. Knox is 4,500. I don't think it'd be bad. We can go for Firamarthier's 3,900. Like it. I like it, Joby. All right. Defense. Let's see. Yeah, Cardinals are up there again. 3,700. Colts are 36. I think we just go Titans here, as we talked about that. We like them this week. 2,600. I think is a good spot for them. So that's leaving us 5,800. Let's see where Gallup lands on this. So he's $4,000, guys. That really frees us up. That really gets our salary back up there. Gallup, I think, is just in a smash spot here. Coming back from injury, going to be a big part of that offense. Just too cheap. It doesn't take much for him to pay off his price tag. But we're hoping we get more of an output ceiling game here from him. But even if we get that minimum, we'll be all right with it. It's almost like a free square, in my opinion. All right. So that leaves us 6,400. We have a running back, we have a receiver, and we have a flex. So we like Taylor, Cook, Najee. Now Harris is in a little bit better price tag here. We could look to somebody like Harris this time at 7,900. It's much better than that 94 tag over on FanDuel. Now, again, scoring's a little different, obviously. There's a lot of differences that change and fluctuate that, but still, at the end of the day. So we have 56.5 left, right? Cheap. Got another cheap receiver. So who we like, guys? We have a receiver and a flex left. I would say that to the time on. Yeah, I mean, it's quite possible. But again, I think a lot of people think that. That's why I think we're looking this way, because we're not building a cash lineup here. So that's the difference in fantasy with playing for money. Is there's cash games and there's tournament games. In tournament games, you're looking to somebody that nobody's on, that nobody's playing, that ends up smashing. So that's how you end up winning big money. You don't play everybody that everybody's on that's in the greatest, honest, best spots. That would be a cash play. That would be for cash games. That's where you're basically winning whatever you played. So if you played $5 entry, you'd basically win $4 or $5 back. This, we're playing to win $10,000 if we get the first place, or so the field's different. We don't want to be on where everybody else is. Some spots they're fine, but so again, he could bust, but again, it's in a good spot. It's at home. I don't know. Nobody's talking about him, so we're gonna look there. We're gonna take a shot at it. So I'm a Viking fan, right? I'm not a Packer fan, but what it is. We got to put all that aside when we play DFS. Cam is back, so he might do okay. Robbie Anderson. Is Cam actually going to get a start this week? All right, so guys, we got 56.5. Let me just see something. Connor 63. I'm just seeing if we did our guy Connor that we like this week. It leaves us 5,000 flat. I'm just seeing what this leads us to. So we got Gage, we got Patrick, Crowder, Jacoby Myers. Myers, again, we liked Gallup over Myers, but at 4,800, might not be too bad. Elijah Moore, just against Buffalo is too tough. Decisive. You know, someone said Robbie Anderson. Just too many questions there with him just coming back, though. I don't mind that as a cheap play. I just don't know that I want to go there without seeing what's going on. We got my guy Harris. Talked about sneaky. So we could go somewhere like a Lazard with an Adams. Yeah, you like Swift today? See, some do and some do and some don't. Yeah, we could. I keep forgetting about Moss. So he's 1 o'clock. So we need to change. They all 1 o'clock game, aren't they? All right. Yeah, we just go Moss here, I guess. Yeah, that works. And then that gets us 6,200. Thanks for reminding me, dude. That leaves us somebody like Cooper, but then we might as well have Dak Prescott, which we can't pay up for anyway because we'd have Gallup and Prescott. Let's see. So Marvin Jones, Sanders, Sutton, Smith, Kirk, Judy. Let's see something here. Hang on a second. Let's move around some things here a little bit. Let's try this. I love Knox this week, but we're trying to find some more salary here. But let's go to the next best Pittsburgh thing right there on the tight end side. Let's take Moss up here. Right? Let's put Connor in flex. That leaves us 8,400. Now we're talking. Well, so we might be able to pay up a defense. So, again, we loved A.J. Brown this week, right? That leaves us 32. What is Cowboys, Packers, Denver? I think we're still good on that. And damn. Oh, wait. Wait. We got Moss, though, right? We don't want to do them together. We got 600 to play with. Yeah, but Joby won. He's $4,000. He literally has to catch 2 passes for 5 yards, 10 yards. I mean, he doesn't have to do anything for his price. It's a free play. Free play. Who says? He's a big Tom's fan. Cameron Brate? Let's Brate that on price tag. Gronk, out again? Gronk out again? Do you like Randall Cobb's? Interesting on a stack with Aaron Rodgers. 43, but he's actually, well, I mean, he's, I guess, Dallas in a smash spot, but, I mean, you could do that. So you could do the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb. So you do an actual stack with Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. You could do something like that. Flex, give you 66. You can, you want to do something different. Mike Williams, you can put Mike Williams in, who we like this week. Cordell Patterson, right? Pittman's 6,300. Mike Williams could be interesting. You know, if you want to get off Connor and you want to do, you know, we like Williams as well. You could do something like that. So that would give you Aaron Rodgers, Dearness Johnson, Zach Moss, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, A.J. Brown, Freiermuth, Williams, and Titans defense. Do something like that. I mean, you could go to somebody like Braid if you want. He was cheap as well. I mean, that's an option you could do. 2,700. You know, if you did something like this, gives you 7,800. You got somebody like Justin Jefferson, Eckler. That might be good too against Minnesota. That'd be interesting. You could do something like that. 200 on the table. A couple different ways. They're not as easy as you think they are. Yeah, I do play tiers. I mean, I've taken down some minis, like, you know, win like a $1 entry with like, I think it's 100 and some people. You win like $100 if you get first. Who's available? Randall Moore. Yeah, but Tyler Murray's out, man. I don't know. I don't like that. So do you guys like? Do you guys like the Eckler thing with Brait, or do you like Fairmouth with like Mike Williams? What do you guys like better? You guys like this? Do you guys like the Brait with the Eckler? You know, we're taking a different stand on the Chargers side if we go with this lineup, saying like Eckler, he'll be involved regardless, but you know, we're on those big Herbert stacks on FanDuel and stuff with like Williams and Keenan Allen and Jared Cook. This going to taking a different angle and putting more just Eckler in a flex spot. Fester, Terry, what do you guys got? Anybody talk to me? Where are we at here, guys? You guys like this better on this build we're doing together, where we do like a Brait cheap with Gronk out and then put someone like Eckler in? Or, I mean, you could put Diggs in there. We already got Zach Moss. It doesn't correlate well. Swift, they talked about 6,800. Aaron Jones doesn't correlate with Aaron Rodgers builds. Some people like Zeke. Great, Eckler is good. Yeah, we'll pin it like this, I think. I think we'll build that like this. All right. Here. Now, this is my cash. This is what I have for cash right now. This is my cash lineup right here. So this is cash, right? And some of you guys might be like, well, why don't you play? And I might change this. I still like Fairmouth, but with you guys saying with the rain, with the cash lineup, I might change this. In fact, boom. There you go. That's my cat. That's my updated cash right there. That's my updated cash lineup. Josh Allen, Dearness Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Gallup, Pittman, Devontae Adams, Fairmouth, James Conner, Buffalo. Airtime, what up, bro? Did you get my email? I haven't had a chance. I checked it earlier. When's the next, maybe you already responded to me. I sent you an email just wondering when the next, whatchamacallit's gonna be. Trivia. So this is what I have for cash, guys. FanDuel cash. Right? You see, I gotta get all my head-to-heads and stuff in too. Haven't updated this yet. So So this is the DraftKings cash lineup. I got Prescott, Fournette, Dearness Johnson, A.J. Brown, Michael Gallup, Devontae Adams, Dan Arnold, James Conner, and Tennessee Titans deep. Dak, Swift, Ingram, Admin. We got some snow. We got a little bit of snow. We didn't get a ton of snow. Got a little bit of snow. Not too bad. But that's where the cash lineup is for DraftKings. That's where I'm at. Prescott, Fournette, Johnson. That's for DraftKings. FanDuel, I already told you guys. Josh Allen, etc. Again, I'll show you guys Fantasy Crunchers. This is just without changing any projections like Fantasy Crunchers projections. This is what they show for the that's for DraftKings. And this is for FanDuel, which is actually kind of funny because every one of these three lineups that they set all have both Williams and Allen, but have Josh Allen as quarterback. It's very interesting. That's an AJ. Rondell Moore is active, correct? Did Joby, did you say Rondell is active? Yeah, Devontae Adams, yeah. We're checking email, hopefully streaming. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was laying in bed last night. I was in bed early last night, guys. I was like napping throughout the day. And then I probably passed out at like 7:30, woke up again at like 9 or something. But I remember it. I'm like, I got to send him an email because I didn't know if this was the week that you were doing it or not. So I wanted to make sure I started at the right time. Yeah. Fantasy Crunchers, again, he's really the main focal point of their offense, right? According to FanDuel, okay. I think T.Y. Hilton will be in a low-owned sneaky play. Also play there. Yeah, I mean, Bogarts. I talked about it earlier. I love Carson Wentz. I actually like going to the pass game more than I do the Jonathan Taylor side. I still think Taylor has a great game. Don't get me wrong, but I think his price tag at 9,400 on FanDuel is a little high. It's too steep, right? And I remember what was he on DraftKings? DraftKings is 8,100. Yeah, so again, still a pricey. I mean, I'll take Cook over. I'll save 100 and take Cook. I'd take Harris, save 200 over Taylor this week on DraftKings. Eckler even in a great spot, you know. Yeah, Swift's in a, you know, he's a huge focal point of that offense. It makes sense, right? A lot of people, Swift, he's not. And again, guys, you got to look at it. Sometimes we gotta let our when it comes to DFS and fantasy, we gotta take our either dislike, whatever word you want to use for another team or players or whatever, you gotta put that aside. Because if you can't be non-biased like towards teams and whatnot, it's gonna be very, very hard to win in daily fantasy sports. Probably even in fantasy as well, right? How often have you guys been in drafts, teams and stuff, and you guys haven't taken a certain player who's literally going to be in a smash spot on at least beginning of the season, should be, or for that week, and you don't grab him or don't take him, and you go somewhere else, which isn't giving you as much of a ceiling, you know, looking at it on paper, and you do it as being biased and not unbiased, and that's, you got to be really, really careful with that. That can be a big deal. Focal point of offense that will score 9 points. Yeah. But again, so Tom T, if they scored 9 points, if Swift got in the end zone once, let's say they missed their extra point and they kick a field goal, but he gets a lot of receptions, he rushes a lot. I mean, you know, he can still pay off his price tag. Now, is he going to have a ceiling game? Which again, and that's the thing we need to talk. We also need to continue to remember when you're playing in these tournaments for GPPs, you're looking for ceiling, right? Ceiling. So You're looking at players that you think at their price tag can go off, right? And have their career day, right? Is this the week that DeAndre Swift can have a career day or can have a close to a career day? Hard to say. I mean, any given Sunday, right? We saw this last week. We saw this in the Buffalo game last week in the Jaguars, where Buffalo lost. The report on Moore was from Adam Schefter. So, yeah. Adam Schefter, if he's reporting it, then he's going to play. Yes, yeah. You need to take your feelings out of it completely, because it'll backfire on you. It'll catch up to you eventually. I remember when I still remember the first, like, when I first started playing DFS, right? I used to play on an app called Draft Street. And I still remember what it looks like. I still remember, like, the whole mobile and the look of it on the PC side. And I remember, like, you know, I think it's a lot of people take this approach if they haven't really learned much about it before they do it or whatever. They just kind of dive in. You know, they played fantasy leagues forever, but it's like, oh man, this is easy. You just, you know, you plug these guys in. But when you first start doing it, if you don't understand it or you haven't been taught or nobody's really showing you, you start taking that biased approach, right? The guys you just like. And you're not even paying attention to matchups, right? You're not even paying attention to weather, which we've touched on today as well, which a lot of times I think steers us in wrong directions, right? The worst thing that I think a lot of us do that have played this and do play this game is making those last-minute changes. Now, in NBA, last-minute changes are pretty much a part of the process. Like, if you can't be near somewhere to see the news up before lock, if you can't be somewhere near a place where you can change and update your lineups in NBA, you're probably just throwing away money every night because you have to pay attention. It's just like today. In NBA today, there's NBA today, right? The main slate locks at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central. People are going to be glued into the NFL games, right? They're going to be watching the games. The guys that do play NBA as well, sometimes Sunday there's a little bit of an advantage on NBA because people are so glued in and they either forget, they don't check up on their news on the NBA side, what have you, and that benefits those that actually are paying attention. Because in NBA, guys are out like that. There's no news about them all day. Boom. Someone's resting, they're just giving them a day rest, right? Or rest or whatever. Well, that changes everything. You take a guy like a Kevin Durant, right? Or somebody that has monster usage, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's not playing like an hour before a lock, half an hour before a lock. All that usage now gets to be distributed to other guys. There's some guy in that lineup that's $3,500 or $4,000 that now becomes a monster play, and you're getting him for next to nothing. He's almost a free square, and now that's allowing you to change the construction of your lineup and your build to benefit you, right? But in the NFL side, we know the majority of the news, right? Typically, we know most guys. There are some things that happen just out of nowhere right before the game just starts and the guy's going to play, and then all of a sudden, first play, he tweaks that ankle or whatever, hamstring, pulls that hamstring. But we typically have a very good idea. We typically know kind of the players that are in or out. But what we do is we go and listen and we hear things and then we change our approach. And typically, I talk about this all the time, but when you're building a lineup like we do here, I try to show us like building a lineup together, right? We try to build it to where it makes somewhat sense. There's got to be some kind of rhyme or reason to it, some game theory behind it. And when you go and you change one player and you go and adjust a lineup, you have to look and see if when you're adjusting that or you're changing that,
and you've already made a decision and now you're going to update or modify it, you need to decide if this decision is the right decision. And you also need to decide if there's somewhere else that you need to adjust or you need to move in that lineup, right? I've actually done it before where because of like some last minute news, I've changed a guy and then I've realized like, and this is what I talk about, like the correlation stuff. And like I find out that like the running back that I put in, I had my tight end in as well, or I had a receiver in as well, or I had this receiver, I didn't have the tight end on the same team. I put that tight end in, not realizing I have the receiver, but now I'm not playing that quarterback that's in that receiver tight end set, that mini stack, if you will. Well, if that's how I'm feeling, if I feel like these guys are going to go off, they're on the same team, and they both rely on a quarterback to throw them the ball, why wouldn't I be playing that quarterback? Right? Now in cash, you may not see that same thing, because in cash games, again, in cash, you're just looking for a high floor, right? You're not looking for ceiling games. Now here's another trick or a little tidbit I would tell you guys that I've done over the years that helps me, because sometimes I find out that when I build my cash lineups, I always throw my cash lineups into like at least $1 single entry or one whatever. I throw it into some other tournament besides just the cash game tournaments. Why do I do that? Because that cash lineup, those guys that have those high floor things, most of them could have ceiling days. Sometimes my cash lineups outscore my tournament lineups, and that they should, right? Because the funniest part I see is when people try to get on somebody for like not scoring a lot of points for a week, right? In DFS. Well, if you look at their lineup, and they were, what's up, Hicks? I heard he's going to be in, from what I heard, Hicks. Godwin, I believe, is going to be in. I believe he's playing. Someone can let me know or change that. But how many targets do you think OBJ will get at? I don't know on targets. Maybe like, I don't know, man. Three or four if he's playing. But what was I talking about? What was I just talking about? Oh, you want Fantasy Crunch or DraftKings? This is DraftKings right here. Fantasy Cruncher, optimize. What was I just talking about, though? What was I just saying? I got completely sidetracked from you guys. Somebody want to refresh me on what I was just talking about? If anyone was paying attention. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in any sport, when you're playing tournaments, now if your cash lineups are scoring extremely low, unless a bunch of guys got hurt in the beginning of the games or middle of the games, there might be something to look at or change there. But in tournaments, you either want to be towards the top as the highest scoring lineup, or it's great to min cash, or you want to be way at the bottom because you're taking that shot. That's why you did that. There should be a lot of weeks that you play, because there's not a tournament player out there that plays every single week that smashes and is in the top. Besides like someone who's playing 150 lineups in every contest where they have and they know what they're doing. I'm not saying it's just as easy as playing 150 lineups. They know what they're doing. They're using the optimizers. They're using the projections properly. They're using their player pools. They're eliminating games, like I mentioned. Sometimes eliminate some games just out of the whole player pool in general. Like we talked about, Denver and Philly would be a game that I would just X off this week. My own personal opinion. I don't want anybody out of that game. But you do that, but you should either be towards like low scored because the guys that you took a shot at, you were looking for that high upside game, or that shoots you to the top and you win big money, right? Because the goal here is in tournaments, is not to min cash. If you're playing in tournaments and your goal is to min cash, meaning basically just barely make it back to make your money back, you shouldn't be playing tournaments. You should just be playing cash games, because that's what cash games are for. Cash games are basically you playing high floor players, chalky players, high floor players, and you doing $5 double ups, whatever. So playing $5, and if top 40% of the people in there, so there's 100, and you're within the top 40, you get $5 back, right? Or 50-50s, it's 100 people, it's the top 50, you get basically 80% back, so you get $4 on top of your $5 entry, right? If you played a $5 entry. That's the difference between tournaments and cash games. Head-to-heads, cash games. Those are all cash games because you're getting back basically what you put in, or up to 40%, 40 to 50% of whatever your entry fee is. You don't have the ability in those tournaments that if you're number one, it doesn't matter if you're in first place or 40th place or first place and 50th place, you're still getting the same amount of money back no matter what place you place in, versus in GPPs, first place could be $1 million. Third place could be, from that million, could be 50,000 or 100,000, whatever. But if you're just looking to mim cash all the time, you should just be playing cash games then. So there should be a lot of weeks where you're disappointed because you don't make it, or you're very low. You score 60 points or 70 points. It's because you took a stab, you took a shot at, you took a risk at, right? Playing the leverage. Because if you're mim cashing would tell me that typically you played a very chalky lineup, maybe with a few spots. And again, to take down a tournament, like when I've taken down tournaments, it's a cash heavy, it's a chalky lineup with basically three spots that are very low owned, right? Like typically the quarterback, one of the running backs, and like the receiver or somebody, right? So you got a 5 to 7% owned player in those spots. Everybody else can be 20, 30, 40% owned. Doesn't matter, right? Because they're all in smash spots. So cash money player. Yeah, cash money. Just basically getting that money back. That something about your cash line. Yeah, because sometimes those high floor players in those spots can just have like career days, right? Like you're not looking for it, but that's why I will always throw my cash lineup in, just in case it does go off, and those guys, majority of those guys have high floor monster games. So Dave Fester, obviously, yeah, you guys weren't listening. That's all right. No. Sounds like at least somebody was. They got me back on track. So that's just some things to look at, Deafness, is that Fantasy Cruncher scoring? That's DraftKings. This is DraftKings. DraftKings. Right here. DraftKings. Today's word is chalky. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to use it up today. Exactly. Chalky. Chalky plays. So chalky plays today are going to be Dearness Johnson, right? Mark Ingram, right? Devontae Adams will probably be somewhat chalky. But again, Aaron Rodgers will not be. So that's where you can get different. You can play that chalky. You can plug those guys in, and then you play somebody like Aaron Rodgers who's going to be very low owned. And, I mean, at quarterback, you're going to get... There's so many options at quarterback, right? And everybody's... Well, a lot of people are looking at the slate differently, and they have their feel on who they feel is going to go off, or who's going to have monster days or big days. So, I don't know. Yeah, no, for sure, man. Always Fester. I'm always here, man. That's what hopefully I'm helping you guys take something out of it, learn something, whatever. I'm not a professional. I've been doing this for 8+ years, every day. Successful. Not like top whatever, because again, I don't play 150 lineups every contest. I play 1 to 3 lineups. I would play multiple lineups. I play like on NFL. Typically, if I'm doing cash games, if you include my cash game plays, which involve 40 to 50 usually, then I'm like $30 in tournaments. So I usually play 80 to $100 a day or a weekend in NFL. And then in NBA, I play about 20, 25 a day, just doing $1, $2, $5 single entry, three entry max. It doesn't take a lot, man. Like, honestly, as long as you're... And that's the other thing, too, we've talked about before. Contest selection is crucial, right? You don't want to be playing in 150 contests where they allow up to 150 lineups. Because if you do and you're not able to optimize, you're not able to put 150 lineups in, chances are you're dead in the water, right? Because there's a bunch of guys that are putting 150 lineups in, and I don't see anything wrong with it. But that's not how I play. I play single entries. So, and the way you can do that is, it's cool because DraftKings has always had that reserve tool option. So, typically what I do is, right after, once next week's slate becomes available, like they start putting contests in, I'll actually go and I'll reserve like those big $1, like the 20,000, 30K dollar entry, you know, 10K or 5K to first or whatever, where there's 20,000, 30,000 entries. The $2, the big ones, you know, they'll plug more in throughout the week. You'll get like the 1K, like there's still, like on FanDuel, there's probably still 1K. I'm sure there's still 1K single entry ones available if we go to the lobby. I'm almost certain there will. But if you do it right at the beginning, you can get in those big ones where they're like, you know, like this, the $5, 100K single entry to first, right? Or 100K total. This is the one that I took down a couple years ago. I won 10 grand off that. That was the Roto Grinders $5 single entry with, you know, 23,000 people. But yeah, I don't see. That's weird. It might be filled up now. But here it's like a 1K right here. 1K single entry, right? So you just reserve that. You just click that reserve it. Lock it in. Lock and load, baby. Kind of pick my, yeah, well then you got to go all in on 7, right? 777. That I've been learning more and feel more confident. We're building teams even if I'm not hitting. But see, Terry, that's just it. Unless you're playing just cash games and you're not winning week in and week out in cash, and even in cash weeks, you're not, even a great cash player is not going to cash every single week with his cash lineup. And here's one other thing I need to make clear. If you're playing any cash games, which you can play both, I do. But if you play cash games, build your best one cash lineup and use that in all your cash contests. Don't play multiple cash lineups. Don't do it. Do not do it. You should have one cash lineup. You should have one build, one lineup, and that's it for cash. You play that in your head-to-heads, your double-ups, your 50-50s. Like I said, I throw that in like a single entry, $1 single entry contest as well. You could throw it in a 1K single entry contest as well, just in case it goes off like crazy. But that's, I think, another thing that some people do. They get different lineups in multiple cash games. You're defeating your purpose, right? Chances are that not all your cash lineups are going to go off. It's kind of like tournament, like you're taking that risk. You should build your best cash lineup and use that cash lineup in all your cash contests. And then your GPP tournaments, that's when you're changing things in each lineup. You're doing multiple lineups, right? In single entry, 3 entry, max, what have you. But Terry, you should, it's like what I just touched on earlier. If you're building tournament lineups, you're either, your needle is either way towards the top or it's way towards the bottom, right? And there's nothing wrong with having a bunch of weeks at the bottom because everybody's there. There isn't a tournament player that, especially that's playing single and 3 entry max tournaments, that's taking down tournaments every single. Multi-entry ones, sure, probably not single 3 entry max. Yep, 7s, baby. Yeah, I finished up. I'm finishing most of my upper, this arm that's sleeve, because everything else is almost sleeved. I got 777. Like, I had a nice big spot. 777s in red. Pretty cool. Did one free with no prize just to practice.
options on tournaments. Yeah. I mean, again, guys, and that's like, you know, the perfect example is what we were just talking about earlier with like guys going, hey, I don't like Aaron Rodgers this week. I don't like him at all. Well, that's what we should be hearing. Like in tournament lineups. We don't want anybody else to like that guy because if we would love to have him come in at under 1% ownership. If we have an Aaron Rodgers tournament lineup with under 1% ownership, Devontae Adams is chalky. You have some of those other chalky guys. You find one or two other players that are 10% owned, and he goes off, and those other guys do what they got to do. That's where you take down a tournament. That's a perfect spot, perfect opportunity. Again, am I confident that he's going to do that? No. I just got a weird feeling. And that's one other thing that I want to lead you guys in. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This has been a much longer stream on a Sunday morning than normal, but I feel like I'm giving you guys a lot of good information as far as how I feel and how I see things. Again, I may not have the right answers. These may not be the perfect thing. These are the approaches I take. This is what I do. This is how I've been successful in the way I've been successful, to be able to maintain and play for as long as I've played daily. Follow your gut. If your gut is telling you, like, if you have a player this is an Aaron Rodgers play for me, right? Justin Herbert play for me. This is also the same feeling I had. What week was that, guys? When I specifically said in the video that we did Sunday morning, I said, I'm not playing Herbert this week, but if I was trying to take down $1 million because nobody was on him that week, I would be plugging somebody in like Justin Herbert and stacking Justin Herbert. And I talked about Eckler, and I talked about, I think it was Mike Williams or Keenan Allen. I don't remember who else, but they were all the guys that were in that $1 million lineup that got took down. Follow your gut. Beware of that on the sloppy track. Your runners don't like that mud. So, guys, just follow the gut. I mean, your gut, just like in anything in life, your gut will tell you if something feels right, if something feels funky, doesn't feel right. If you're building your lineup, all right, Faster, I appreciate you, brother. If you're following your gut and you look at your lineup and your lineup just there's something that doesn't feel right or doesn't seem right, mess around with it, adjust some things, see if something just makes more sense, feels better, seems like it's going to be better. All right, you guys got any other questions for me today? Otherwise, I think we're about going to wrap this up because, yeah, I got to get to double-checking news, building a couple lineups. Follow the gut, baby. Yep, follow the gut. Oh. That'd be a great podcast name. Follow the gut. Follow the gut podcast. Follow. Oh yeah, have a great Sunday. Yeah, guys, good luck to everybody, both fantasy season long and for you DFS players. If you guys got any questions or got anything else for me, you can email me, DM me, text me, whatever it might be. I got you. I got the stuff, people that wanted stuff sent out, I do have packaged up. Get that labeled off, and I'll drop it off this afternoon, evening. Wait tomorrow for you guys. Tom T's going to go live, guys, so I'm going to definitely plug Tom. Drop your, I can't do it because I'm in Streamlabs and I'm not actually signed in on this, so in the chat I can't do it. Tom, drop your link to your YouTube channel. Guys, everybody go and go hang out with Tom T while we're fixing and looking at our lineups. Make sure you drop the link, Tom. Tom has some product. If you guys are looking to get into some breaks or have him open some stuff this morning, he's going to do something for Terry, but I'm sure he'd stay on for a little while. If anybody else wants to get some product and have it ripped, he can rip and ship it for you. So, Tom, drop your link in the chat, or somebody drop Tom T's link in the chat, and then we will see you guys over there. Again, guys, don't forget, your boy is going to be back breaking with Triple Diamond Sports Breaks. Local shop that opened up here, good buddies of mine. They've been breaking for a while, but I'm going to start breaking for them. My first night will be Thursday night. Their website is tdsbreaks.com. So tdsbreaks.com. Make sure you guys check them out. I'll be there Thursday night at like 7 o'clock. So, all
All right, guys, let's head over to Tom T. Good luck to each and every one of you guys. Let's win some money. Let's take something down. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Smash that thumb if you would for me. And I'll see you guys next time. We'll be live for the Playmaker podcast tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Excited. Got a lot to talk about. Hopefully there's a lot that we get to talk about from this today as well. And hopefully we can talk about taking down some tournaments. So till then, guys, 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Go hit up Tom T. And good luck to y'all, man. Let's get some pay dirt today.